Hop on with us as we dive into the latest topics, share some laughs, and bring you insightful conversations in and around the realm of ag. From down-home wisdom to cutting-edge tech, we've got what you need to fuel your curiosity. So tune in, relax, and let's kick back. On the Tailgate, presented by Wade Incorporated.
All right, welcome back to another episode on the Tailgate. I'm your host, Cade Moody. We've got Gaston Line in the co-host spot and Riggs Ware in the producer's seat. And we got a special guest today from InnerPlant, the CCO, Chief Commercial Officer, Gary Schaefer. Gary, thank you for being with us today.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys. Great to be with you and looking forward to spending some time together.
Absolutely.
This is our first virtual guest.
Oh, it is?
Yeah. I think we're giving this a go here. So
we weren't going to tell you that until after we got started. We didn't want you running off.
No pressure. I would have dusted off things in the background a little more if I knew that was the case. Don't look closely.
No, man. Look. Tell us a little bit about InnerPlant. Tell us what y'all got going on now. We'll tease the future. And let's kind of dive into this stuff because what little I've read, man, it's impressive.
Yeah, guys, it's game changing, right? I think really InnerPlant was founded. Our founder Shelley founded the company really with the vision and the belief that like the power of knowing what plants need lies within the plant themselves. But the challenge was like, how do we get that information, right? How do we get that information out of the plant? And so Shelley looked at a lot of different technologies around the world, but really her and Rod, our chief science officer, locked in on a traditional biotech approach using fluorescent proteins and coding these proteins into the DNA of plants that respond specific to stressors. So that's a fungal stress, drought stress, an insect stress, right? Could be a nutrient stress. We put these fluorescent proteins into the plant, and so that when the plant's immune system is activated due to a stress, the plant emits a fluorescence that we're able to see as far away from space above the clouds, but as close to the ground as on a tractor, and everything in between. So the idea being, right, is just this type of technology allows us to know what plants need and when they need it, right? So it takes a lot of the guesswork out, I think, of row crop production agriculture, which is where we're really applying the technology today when you think about different cropping systems around the world.
And look, and this isn't even something that's necessarily, I mean, of course it is. It has a future aspect, but this is something y'all are doing right now and have products.
Yeah, guys, we are. So first product is Inner Soy Fungal. So this is the first product that's come through the pipeline. We have screened over 20,000 different events to find kind of the top performing Inner Soy Fungal trait. And this is over the course of the last three and a half years we've been working on this, but this is in fields across the Midwest today. And is being used to indicate to farmers in those geographies whether or not fields in their areas are actually infected with fungal disease. So not just, hey, the weather's conducive for a fungal infection in soy, or, we know that there's pathogens present. We did some soil tests. We know there's pathogens present, the weather, but like really, right, is knowing when that infection took place. I'll tell you guys too. I'm just getting back home off of a trip to the Midwest, and it's been so fun this year. And really what was fun was, I think for like the first time in the world, right, the history of the world, we're able to see a plant infected, right, and when it was infected with a fungus in real time, right? Like it's wild to think that would even be possible, right? And that plant doesn't have symptoms that we would go in the field and we would see that infection, right? We're not going to see this for weeks and weeks, but we were able to see, because of this technology, the day that this happened, and then be able to tell farmers, hey, not only is the weather conducive and there's high risk, not only is there high risk for these pathogens in your geography. But hey, by the way, here's the plants and here's what they're telling us, and there's infections happening. Take this information and really think about, how does that impact what you're going to do to manage your crop right now in season, with this type of information. So that's the application of the technology that we're seeing. I mean, right now today across the Midwest with soybean farmers.
I've got tons and tons of questions, and I don't know the order to ask them, but we're going to just lay it on you, and we'll just see where it goes.
Yeah.
So I come from ag retail and dealt with a lot of seed, chemical fertilizer, and understand some of stacking traits in seed and whatnot. Are the fluorescent proteins that you're putting in the seed? I assume that's where it's being put in the seed.
Mm-hmm.
Is that similar to a trait, a Roundup trait, extend trait, those kind of things, or is this different? How does that compare to what I think that most people understand about engineering?
Yeah, Gaston, great question. It's very much the same. It's a GMO technology, right? Utilizes a lot of the same principles. The difference is when you think about a herbicide trait, right, an HT trait technology, right, the value to the farmer for that technology is not realized until it is in every seed across every acre, right? With the InnerPlant technology, kind of the big step changes. Think of these are data traits, right? They're providing information that you may not know. And so we're able to deploy these via, these sentinel plots in our crop voice network across the country, across regions, and utilize these traits now before they're in every seed and on every acre. And that's what's exciting, I think, to me. But yeah, so we use very traditional type approaches in the ways we insert these fluorescent proteins into the seeds. Very similar to a lot of how that's done with herbicide tolerant traits, or even what you may think of as some of the BT traits that are also available in the market. And the different fluorescent proteins, maybe just expound upon that a little bit, is, think about different stresses that different crops go through. So in the case of soybean, you could have fungal, you could have insect. In the case of corn, it could be fungal, insect, could also be nitrogen, for example. The idea is that each of those stressors would have a different color, if you will, fluorescent protein. With the plant having the ability to express both of those at the same time. So the idea is that these data traits that we're developing, again, very much in the same type of approach as the HTBT traits, but that we have the capability to stack these as well in each of the respective crops.
So you talk about the idea. I know some's in production and you're seeing it out in the field now. Is it still an idea for some, or have you gotten, and I don't know if you can even talk about it, but have you gotten a ways down the road in some of the other colors that it would, shoot off from the plant? Or I guess where are y'all in that process?
Yeah. So inner soy fungal emits a green fluorescence. And maybe a little premature to talk about what colors are coming next, but happy to share with you that, and there's probably not a day that goes by that our retail partners or farmer customers, right, are not asking us when corn fungal is coming. And so, we're very actively working on the corn fungal trait as well as a soy insect. And so, both of those are really coming through the pipeline. I think too, for the company, just being able to see, the amount of work we've done, not just on developing the trait for inner soy fungal, but the other aspects of the ecosystem from a detection standpoint, and the learnings we've had, I really see us well positioned to bring the next traits that are coming in the pipeline to market even faster than what we did with inner soy fungal, just based on the learnings. The team's done this. We have a lot of learnings from it, but But first color is green. I don't know. Maybe the next one might be yellow.
That's a good combination, green and yellow.
I thought you guys would like that.
For all the viewers that are watching this instead of hearing this, I'll send down a link to their Instagram, and they have some stuff up there that shows the lights going over certain normal soybean plants versus the InnerPlant that they've modified or not modified, genetically engineered, and it'll show you the different colors and all that.
There's some good stuff on the website too, because I was looking at it this morning. And it may be the same video.
It probably is the same video, but how they go the different
the laser
lights
and yeah.
It's pretty wild.
Man, and just the sky's the limit with that stuff, like you said, with all the advancements. And you may have mentioned this earlier. How long has this been? When was InnerPlant founded? How many years have we been up to this date?
So we're about 6 years in at this point in time. We really got working on inner soy fungal about 3.5 years ago, in earnest. And so then Crop Voice, the product that we're selling today. So farmers are enjoying Crop Voice this year, 2025, is really kind of our first real commercial year. Kind of we had a bit of a pilot year last year. And then 26, Crop Voice will be across Illinois, Iowa, Nebraska, and maybe even part of Indiana as well.
Do you want to explain Crop Voice for us? Let me do that. I think you guys, though, and Cade kind of gave a clue that I think is worth following up on. And you guys were talking about sky's the limit. I think a key part of this technology, too, like viewers, if you're watching this, go to our YouTube. There's a really good video on the YouTube that talks about and shows the detection work we've done with this. So what's really neat about these traits, right, is they turn on so quickly when the plant is stressed. So within 24, 48 hours, that plant is fluorescing from the moment it's infected, right? But the other key part of that, and maybe I think a lot of people thought was a challenge early on for us, was how do you see it? So does the farmer got to put on special goggles and go out and shine lights on the field? Do you see this driving around? How's this going to work? No, it's quite simple, really. We're not dependent on any one modality. There's a number of modalities, meaning different ways in which we can see this fluorescence. So kind of alluded to this earlier, but the YouTube video on our satellite detections in both North America and South America is super cool. So definitely go check that video out. You'll definitely see a lot of the work we've done with satellite. But just to bring this whole concept full circle was not just having the trait, it turn on just to the fungal stress, not to other factors, turn on timely, but then to be able to see that, right? So if it's a cloudy day and we can't use satellites, can we see it with a drone? Can we see it while we're spraying our crops with a tractor, with a camera that could be on a tractor? So we have a lot of different ways in which we see this fluorescence. So a farmer is not locked in or dependent on one modality. So that just a little bit about kind of the core technology and what we built out. But specific to Crop Voice, yeah. So Crop Voice, think of Crop Voice as InnerPlant goes and places these sensor plants, inner soy fungal plants, and we create a network. You could think of it similar to kind of like a cell tower network, right? You don't always know where the towers are, but you know you're in service because you can get data and you can make calls, right? The Crop Voice network is really a network of sentinel plots of inner soy fungal soybeans that we place all over a region. So next year we'll deploy anywhere between 100 to 200 different plots across those 3 states. And what we do is we monitor those plots, those sentinel plots, and we're watching those plants and imaging them all day and all night. And those images are uploaded to the cloud. Our data science team is able to take those and track those in as close to real time as you can get. And alert farmers as to whether or not fields in their area are infected with fungal disease. And here's the cool thing, guys, it's not specific to a white mold or just frog eye, it's anything above ground. And I think some of the learnings we're having this year is that there might be unknown fungal, pressure
and even specific diseases that we may think may be isolated to certain areas of the country. This tool is allowing us to see the movement of these different diseases into different geographies that we maybe hadn't considered before. So Crop Voice it's a really remarkable tool. I think the farmers have really enjoyed it. We could talk a little bit about that too, some of the use cases this year, how it's changed, even just some farming behaviors. But really cool tool that, and product that we've put out to provide next level, true step change of information that really enables farmers to think different about soybean fungal decisions.
I got just a quick question. So your researchers or your data scientists, those guys, can they see, like, say one day they see pressure in a corner, and then the next day, can they see it walking through the field?
Yeah. So, so think of this as think of the soy fungal, and the trait, right? This inner soy fungal trait in this soybean, right? Think of it as like it's mirroring what the plant's feeling, right? So if the plant's infected, and the plant is under stress from that, it's fluorescing. If the plant next to that is infected, it's going to turn on, and the plant next to that, and the plant next to that. So yeah, very much so. So it's actually quite neat to watch the data science team go through these pictures. So you could see day one, and you might see a plant, and maybe the next day you see 3 plants, and maybe the next day you see a group of plants, and they're all glowing. So yeah, we're able to see that in as real a time as you can get.
I think that brings up a great point that's right there. Because I'm not a scientist and don't understand how a fungus works, and I'm sure all of them work differently. But that, to me, a light bulb goes off and says we can spray in that section, potentially to cut it back before it gets to the rest of the field.
It's like a fire line.
Yeah. Is that possible? Or where is the fungus coming from? Is it going to get to the other plants if they're not sprayed anyway? I don't know the answers to that. You may can talk on that a little bit.
Yeah, I think, that's what's very clear about this technology, right? And is that this technology is going to create an awareness, that is very acute to specific problems that haven't quite been thought about how to solve. Meaning the way we're solving it today is a very broad brush stroke. Hey, it's R3, spray your soybeans with a fungicide.
Yep.
What if that disease came in R1? What if it comes in a little later? What if it comes in a vegetative stage? There's one disease and there's a different disease that comes in at R2, right? And so, I think what that's going to create, right, and this technology is going to create is the opportunity to really think about how do you truly optimize when you think about precision ag. How do you optimize for that situation, right? And so maybe, and I don't think it's, I don't think we think about things. Oftentimes in the industry, we think about things on a per acre basis. I think with this technology, we start to think about things on the farm basis. Because to your point, right? Maybe the corner of the field's infected, the southeast corner is infected, but maybe the northwest corner isn't. And so, do we just spray kind of a curative, preventative type fungicide on what's infected? And maybe we put a little buffer around that, but maybe we don't have to spray the rest,
But I guess that kind of answers our little question we had. I don't know if you want to ask it anyway.
No, we'll get to that later. But what he's talking about is the exact same conversation we have with customers on the See and Spray.
Yeah.
It's like when the See and Spray comes in, it's like, look, this is going to change the way that your application program is built in your operation. You're not going to just continue to do, or you don't have to do the same thing you've been doing. You can change it up a little bit, and we don't know what we don't know until, one, the technology is getting better, similar to InnerPlant. The technology is going to advance further and further, and then, two, the more people that use it, the more ways we find out how to optimize it and maximize the returns. And you're talking about the Sentinel plots in the Crop Voice program. Do you have a number of how many plots y'all have out?
This year, So this year we've got around 30 different Sentinel plots out in the Midwest. But like I said, so So Crop Voice will expand tremendously. So going into the 2026 season, we're covering much of central eastern Nebraska, western Iowa, and central and east central Illinois. So within those kind of geographies, roughly, we'll probably have somewhere around 150 different plots.
Wow. And I was looking at the website.
And we deploy those. So we don't ask the growers to deploy those, right? We don't ask the retail partner to deploy those. That's an InnerPlant. We maintain the network. So back to kind of the cell tower network. We're responsible for maintaining the network. So we got a great agronomy services team and a great team that works on detection devices. And so, they work hand in hand to get all of these plots deployed across the country. And deployed means planting the seeds, right? Making sure that the seeds come up and are planted in a way that's uniform or representative of how the agronomic practices of the farmers in the area do it. So, we're on 30-inch beans, we're on 15-inch row beans. What's the Kim program look like? Right? We try to mirror that. So, this network needs to represent the local areas in which it serves. And so we set it up that way. But we deploy that and we deploy all those seeds, get everything planted with our partners, and then we set up all the detection equipment as well. And then we're live, we're monitoring. So that's a little bit of how it works.
And I'm like what I saw in the video. That plot detects, the satellites come over, detects fungal pressure. Area customers enrolled in Crop Voice can get a text message, depending on how they have it set up, could get an Operations Center notification from their John Deere Operations Center. It's pretty real time. As soon as they pull the trigger on the alert, these guys are going to know about it, and they're going to have the advance notice to go treat the field.
Yeah, and maybe even a little bit better than that too. In all reality, so we have demonstrated the capabilities to use satellite detection. Actually, for these plots, though, we deploy what we call light bars. So we want the ability to take pictures, 24/7 of these plants. So we're taking images during the day. We're taking them during the night. We don't even want to be dependent on a satellite pass every day, every other couple days. So, these fields are scouted so closely. But yeah, you're right. So we're scouting these fields the second, right? The second we have confirmation that a plot is infected. Farmers in the area that subscribe to Crop Voice, they can get an alert one of two ways. They can get it via typical text message, SMS message, or they can get it via Ops Center, John Deere Ops Center, and we push that alert right to them. We actually pushed an alert about a week ago, actually a week ago today, in a part of Nebraska for white mold, and we saw infections happening, and farmers were really appreciative of that. So, and the ability to just see that real time, and we show the farmers, right, when they get this text, it's not just, hey, there's an infection. We provide a link, right? So the farmers can go to the link. They can see a picture of the fluorescing soybeans. They can see the forecast, right? So, hey, not only are we showing this area actually with confirmed infections, but these surrounding areas, they're high risk as well right now. So keep that in mind if you have fields, outside of the perimeter of where this infection is taking place.
Well, what's been the response rate? Are they acting on some of that?
Yeah, so it's a little early, Gaston, but I would say it's quite high. So yeah. I think so far, I would say response rate and open rate of the text message, as well as we also send it via, I guess it's snail mail now. Email is snail mail, but we send it via email. But no, people don't care for email as much as they do text alerts. But no, so a lot of the texts are getting open, but I would say from an action standpoint, it's very high, very, very high from a treatment standpoint. But maybe a little bit on that, it would be worth talking about a case study. So maybe not a case study, but just an example of it this year. And I think it's like, how do you think about this, right? Which is, so if we just rewind in one of the geographies this year that we've been providing Crop Voice, we had growers enrolled in Crop Voice, And so probably about like 3.5 weeks prior to when we actually signaled an alert saying, hey, plants are infected, about 3.5 weeks prior, we, in our scouting report, so in addition to the alerts, we also provide a weekly scouting report to the farmers, pictures, just keeping them, and a forecast of here's what's happened, here's what we think is going to happen. So 3.5 weeks prior to that first alert of infection going out, we started signaling to the farmers in the scouting reports, started signaling is like, hey, 15-inch row soybeans, especially irrigated, are high risk in this territory, in this area, this region. Be vigilant, right? As the crop stage progressed, and this was for white mold. So as the crop stage progressed and we really got into the key timing of the crop stage, we had been saying high alert, now 30-inch row beans, high alert, high alert. We had farmers that have had some tough experiences with white mold. And so when they saw kind of the scouting report come across, even before seeing the fluorescing plant indicating an infection, they went ahead and took action. And so they went ahead and sprayed early, right? So they're 3 weeks before the infection. Now the alert came and they made the decision to spray again. But I think there's also a subset of farmers that say, hey, I see high alert. I'm going to wait. Okay. I see an infection. Now I'm going to go spray. And so I think the Crop Voice product it fits a lot of farmers and different management styles and practices. And you get the information and, ultimately it's up to the farmer how they want to manage that.
Sure.
But it fits a lot of different kind of profiles, if you will. Some are going to be a little more risk adverse than others, and some will maybe be a little more risk loving and wait, right? And then spray once we know there's an infection. And some may want to spray a couple times, but that's their prerogative.
But at the end of the day, yeah, they're getting information that nobody else is getting faster than anybody else is getting, and what they do with it is, their prerogative. So look, kind of want to segue into maybe the future conversation, but you talk about, so Crop Voice and Sentinel plots, they're expanding, but then also on the website you mentioned going direct to consumer with the seed in later years. What do you see, I guess, what's going to be the main focus? Do you see Crop Voice kind of going, countrywide, worldwide or whatnot, or do you see the customers being more interested in planting some fields with the InnerPlant seed and getting their own alerts?
And will it be a learning curve?
Oh,
what kind of training will they need to have to do if they're using drones, or how do they act on it themselves?
Yeah, good question. So in short, would just say is I think one thing we're really keen on here is feedback loops and constantly learning. So what I may tell you may become obsolete if I learn something different in the next month. Okay. But that being said, kind of the vision is that Crop Voice, right, is kind of the vehicle that allows us to continue to bring these innovations to market before they get the full global regulatory approval, right? So just like an HT trait, right? What takes so long is all these approvals all over the world, right? And so that we can ship grain wherever we need to ship it to the importers that import it, all over the world. So while we wait for that, Crop Voice is a great way for farmers to experience these in a much, and make decision making much more improved than where it is today. Eventually, though, you're right? So eventually, these traits will be available and bags of seed that farmers, and brands that farmers like to purchase, and it's activated in every seed on every acre of their farm, right? And so whether or not, and again, right, we want to make it easy. I think with a lot of technology, we have to think about making it easy. The goal being is that one day the farmers are just planting this seed, and when they plant it, we know that field was planted with the seed. And there's, maybe some satellite flights that come along with the planting of that seed. The farmer could have optionality to detect the signal via satellite, could detect it via drone, could even detect it with cameras on a tractor. But the idea is that the farmer has optionality and that it's easy, right? So farmers shouldn't have to think about all kinds of special cameras or all these kind of uploads or how do we do this, right? The idea being is that the imagery, right? We have the algorithms to be able to tease out the imagery and the fluorescence, and so we do that easy for the farmer and provide the information to the farmer really no different than how we do today via either SMS or even an Op Center, right? And I like Op Center too, guys. I mean, you probably got a number of folks that use it, but I like Op Center. Early on, we made a strategic decision with Op Center, and there's a lot of different apps out there, but what we're doing is next level agronomy, right? And the reason I liked Op Center is it's there's some agronomic tools in there, but really it's operations. And to me, what's unique about Op Center is when you take kind of this next level agronomy and combine it with how the farmer does agronomy, right? Like the implementation of it, right? The combination of those two things is a work plan, right? That's what the farmer takes action on every day, right? So the sum of like what we're doing plus Op Center and the actual implementation of it, to me, there's great synergy there for the farmer. So our information, whether it's coming via Crop Voice today or whether it's, when the trait's in every seed on every acre, getting that information in Op Center and that being able to provide the farmer a recommendation on what to do and an action plan of how to do it, a work plan. I think that's where there's great synergy and great value for the farmer.
That opens up. Yeah, I live in Op Center, so with my role, that's what I do every day. So, and literally, I just left a meeting first part of this week with a group, and it was focused around work plans and then creating more seamless work plans. And man, there's no way more seamless than for a satellite to fly over the field and create your work plan for you and tell you that, hey, you need to go spray over here.
The way I see it, the easiest method is when we have all these cameras on the equipment. Like it's already starting to happen. You see it spray, and then you talk about tractors and all that and autonomy. You've got cameras everywhere. Well, tractor runs across the field, it's collecting all that data, what it's actually doing behind the tractor, what's inside the tractor, all that is happening. And then this is another layer that as many times I run across the field, you may not be needing that at that time, but it's there, and you can go refer back to it.
And it's also in this, everything comes back to this, I feel like, this day and age, but that's not something that a human is going to go analyze all those images. But that's where AI comes in, and the can of worms is wide open at that point. So that's...
Yeah, I think so too, guys. And I think there's some really key building blocks in the industry that are happening that I think really allow all of this to come together, right? So you rewind like 10 years and it's not hard to see the vision of where things could go, but there's a lot of fundamental building blocks that really just weren't in place. But you look at the announcement from Deere with the Starlink and having that level of connectivity on a tractor, and you think about, right, the amount of images and information that those cameras are collecting, right? Like they're useless if they can't go somewhere, right? So like think about that connectivity, what it allows from a processing standpoint, right? And look, we see it the same way, right? So John Deere invested in InnerPlant Series A, led the Series A for the company, and the vision is that the See and Spray that's for weeds today will also see the fungus and fluorescence from the inner soy fungal trait in the future, and the cameras are there to do it, right? So it's a very intuitive next step as to how to think about how that system could further progress from just, hey, seaweed, spray weed. And I know it's a lot harder than that, but seaweed, spray weed to, hey, also we're seeing fungus. Hey, we're also seeing insect. Hey, we're also seeing nutrient deficiency. Hey, this cornfield is short nitrogen, right? And we need to think about what that looks like, right? So it's our relationship with John Deere, I think, will enable a lot of these future precision agricultural technologies to come to the farmers, as you say, right? I mean, these cameras, what you're able to see and the amount of information you're gaining, it's not just the savings on the chemical. There's a trove of information that farmers are going to have on a field by field basis.
We told customers when we first started selling See and Spray, I guess, heard about it 5 years ago, started kind of selling it 3 years ago. And we have told people from the very beginning that, look, as of right now, yes, it is a weed killing machine. It is a seaweed, spray weed, like you said. But we weren't we didn't know anything. We still don't really know anything, but the speculation is there that these cameras, you got vision over 100% of your farm now. You know, we've been telling them for a while that more is going to come from this technology. We don't know what it is, but more is going to come from. Now, did I know that it was going to drive over a glowing soybean plant and it was going to tell it? Then I didn't know that.
No, you didn't know
I mean,
that.
that's next level, which is incredible and it's extremely exciting. But that's it's a fantastic partnership, and being on this end, I mean, I know Deere's excited about it. We as a dealer are excited about it.
Yeah, I mean, I think these are the type of people Deere wants to be involved with, just future focus. You know. I mean, there's obviously things you got to handle today, but man,
Sure,
exciting for down the road. I have a quick question on the fungal trait in inner soy. Is that and I guess this is looking down the road and getting people excited about what's to come. Is that an easier one to did y'all focus in on that, or what's kind of the next step on? I know we talk about different types of crops, and then we talk about nutritional issues and deficiencies, and then insects. But has the fungal been a little bit easier to master?
It's not that the trait itself is easier to master. There were some very strategic reasons why we chose soy in front of corn. But from a trait perspective, it's less about insect versus fungal. But what I would say is on inner soy fungal, really happy with where that's at. I think when you realize like not just the problems in the U.S., but also, South America with fungal diseases as well, particularly with soybeans. Inner soy fungal has a lot of attraction in both north and southern hemispheres. Would also say though, like, as I think about like what's coming next, I kind of think of that. There's several ways to think about that, right? And so what I kind of think about is it's not just like linear of what's in the pipeline. It's also the geographies we serve, and it's also the retail partners that are going to bring it to market. Right. And so we'll have maybe a little bit of a teaser here, but we're close to making a big announcement on a new geography. So today it's across the Iowa, Illinois, Nebraska, but we're looking to take Crop Voice broader, and so we see the potential for Crop Voice, from where you guys are down in the Delta all the way to North Dakota, and a fit for it.
Bring it on down here.
So yeah, we're looking at everything. We hope to be making some announcements on some geography expansions for Crop Voice soon. And look, guys, as well, it's just the retail partners that we're working with to bring this to farmers, right? We serve a common customer in the farmer.
For sure.
We got to bring products to market that make sense for farmers, that add real value to farmers. And so we got to find and partner with the right retailers that have that same mindset, and we're doing that. So you'll see a lot more announcements on the retail side as well. And those are those retail partners, right? Those are places farmers can go to get this, right? No different than you guys with the Deere equipment, right? And so having the right partners is also a really critical piece of the equation for us.
I think a big piece that you have to consider too is that there's areas of the country that, I'm going to use insects as an example. We live in the Delta here in Greenwood. 15 miles away is where the hills start for us, east of us. And their insect pressure is dramatically less than what we have here in the Delta. So, I mean, if you wouldn't want to, if there was wanting to save some money or something in the seed, then those guys in the hills don't maybe need that inner insect, whatever you're going to call it.
Jumping conclusions over there, man.
But yes, but I think fungus is one that seems to be countrywide, no matter where you are. So I think it is a good starting point. I don't know. I'm just kind of talking out loud there.
So on that note, so this is what the question that Riggs was pitching me for earlier, but I've heard you say multiple times, every seed on every acre. Obviously that's the goal, but if I'm the customer, what if let's say I'm planting 130,000 soybeans an acre. What if I threw 5,000 InnerPlant seeds in there to kind of give me I got little sentinel plants instead of sentinel plots.
Yeah. It's kind of like a refuge approach, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I just think, right, like the cost to do that is higher than just planting the bag of seed that has it all in it. And just think about, the number of data points you miss out on by not having it in every plant, right?
Oh,
No
no doubt.
different than the see and spray, right? If, just being able to take a picture, those cameras are on across the whole field. Like, think about the learnings, right? Like, everyone thinks seaweed, spray weed, but even just with weeds, like, what are we going to learn from plants that don't get sprayed with a herbicide? Like, is there
Absolutely.
benefit to that, right? And like, where's the weed pressure map? And so, from what I'm seeing, I don't think less data is going to be the answer. I think, and more work. I think less work and more data is going to put us right where we need to be. So, I envision us having a system where keep it easy for the farmers, right? Just don't require more work or sprinkling something else in. Just plant the seed and we'll take care of the rest and let you know where those hot spots are. Your alerts will come up. You'll have, you could have layers in Op Center, or you could get your SMS alerts just as you do today. But provide that information seamlessly to the farmer.
I 100% agree.
Yeah, I do too.
I can't imagine trying to keep track of separate bags of seeds across the entire operation.
Yeah,
So,
no doubt.
well, look, as a wrap up, any questions from the group here, Gary? If you've got anything you want to get to that we haven't touched on, then feel free.
Well, I mean, I think maybe speaking on some of the partnerships that you mentioned, Deere, and some of the investments that are made have been made, and I'm sure y'all are continuing doing that. But I mean, you can talk about it in a broad way or real specific. But I'm sure you've got a lot of people on board with this.
Probably stirring a lot of interest with
yeah,
this stuff.
I mean, can you speak on that much and what y'all are doing on that side?
Yeah, no doubt. So think about kind of the approach, right? So, if you look across a lot of new technologies, it's a better than or a new way of doing like a specific thing within the value chain, right? Whether it's like, hey, this is a little bit better way to do crop protection, or this is a newer, better biostimulant, or this is a newer, better, whatever, right? Way of doing something. What we're doing is a whole new ecosystem, right? It revolutionizes production agriculture at the end of the day, right? And so in order to do that, right, you got to have the right ecosystem partners. And I think, from John Deere is certainly a key one, right? I mean, they don't just think about machinery, Gaston, to your point, right? Like they're really visionary, and they're thinking about every day in the life of a farmer and how to improve that. So they make a tremendous partner from us. Obviously, right, there's got to be seeds that we put this into that farmers plant, right? So we think quite closely about our seed partnership strategy, and we know farmers have real affinities to certain brands of seed. And so we're cognizant of that. And, we want farmers to have choice and where they can access this and be able to access it in the brands they want. So seed partnerships are also a critical element of our longer term strategy. I think there's something on crop protection too, right? I mean, just, what happens if you find this disease early? Like, can we create something that is more curative? Can we improve chemistry? Like, if we know we have a problem, right, can we better solve for it and allow the farmer to see that, right? So think about a lot of the modalities. Fungicide's one where it's like, we're not going to turn dead tissue green again. Well, yeah, we know that because it's too late. But, is there a way where we can better utilize chemistry and the right active ingredients, the right load rates, right, to best treat these things when we find them? I think there's something on the chemistry side as well. And we think a lot about that. But really, guys, I think it comes down to is the partnerships and the farmers, right? And so we've also, our Series B was led by farmers, right? So, I mean, our company, between Deere leading our Series A and farmers leading our Series B investment rounds, right? Like we really stay just grounded to practicality and building this thing out for what works and making sure we stay in touch with the farmer. So, and part of doing that is having the right retail partners. So in the short term, I see us really looking at forging the right retail partnerships. There's always going to be work going on with the seed partners. There's always going to be work going on with the chem partners. Whether we launch our own satellite constellation one day or we partner, to be determined. Those conversations are always ongoing as well. But for here and now, right, it's focus on the farmers and find the right retail partners to deliver the technology to them through.
I think it's a great strategy. It's already seeing it work now, and I think you're on the right track for sure.
I am just absolutely baffled.
Yeah.
What a
we want to see it down here, though.
What a fantastic time to be in ag technology.
I've been waiting on this conversation for so long. I'm glad it's happened.
It's just the start.
I mean, we are on a podcast right now with a guy from Florida talking about a soybean talking to a satellite when it experiences pressure.
Yeah.
This is the future. We're going to watch this. Millions are going to watch this in 10 years and be like, those guys.
That was it. Yeah.
Those guys
guys,
Go ahead.
and my plug too, right, is you can see it. So we've got field days across the Midwest. We gotta get down there and come see you, no doubt, and we will. But we do have some field days across the Midwest coming up, as well as some demonstrations to show, like, hey, here's what it looks like with a satellite. Here's what it looks like with a drone. Here's what it could look like with a tractor, and here's Crop Voice. Here's how it works. And so we've got a lot of show and tell events coming up across the Midwest. Check out our homepage to find the details there for those. But agreed, we got to come see you down in the Delta. I think the Delta could use this technology sooner than later.
And we'll have Riggs put the link to the website right here, so that way everybody can click on that. But man, what an exciting time! Fantastic conversation.
I just keep coming back to that slide that you show in all your presentations. Starts on the area, the farm, the field, and then we're already at the plant.
It is plant level management.
Is plant level.
And it's so, Gary, kind of what he's referring to is, all of John Deere's technology, like what you mentioned earlier, precision ag is getting more precise. And so right. What this slide is showing is it used to, they're managing on a macro level. It's farm by farm, and then it got to be field by field, and then we went zone by zone. And this is the See and Spray is a perfect example, and what InnerPlant is doing is a perfect example of managing on a plant by plant basis. When one plant gets infected, I start seeing it. When another one gets infected, I see a little bit more, and it is plants talking to farmers, which is wild, but extremely impressive and exciting, and I'm pleased to be on this side of the partnership as well.
For sure.
You believe the farmer we had on 2 episodes ago would be interested in all that?
No doubt. Fired up.
So, well, look, Gary, we appreciate your time. We don't want to hold you up any longer, but we did have fantastic talk here. And again, like I said, fantastic time to be in agriculture, exciting time here to see what InnerPlant's going to do in the very near future.
And I think we circle back.
Oh, for sure.
We'll have you back on.
Yeah. Next time, let's do it in studio. I'll bring the plants, and we can look at the plants and talk more about some data and things we saw. Dial in maybe a little bit more. But hey, in all seriousness, guys, really appreciate you having us on and thinking about us and helping us tell our story more. We appreciate it and really look forward to seeing you soon. So thank you.
Absolutely. Yep. We'll get that on the books. We'll put Riggs in charge of that.
Any questions about any of this going on?
Oh, yeah. If there are any questions about this conversation, y'all feel free to reach us on the tailgate at wadeinc.com. We'll get those questions to Gary, and we'll get you some answers back. But also, if you want to see them down here in Mississippi, let's apply a little pressure to them and see if we can get them down here in the Delta. So, well, good deal. Again, we'll talk to you soon. Hopefully have you here, and we'll catch you next time on the tailgate.